Greetings, my friends. Welcome to the next episode of the Mint Mob Podcast. Jason here with my buddy Alex across the pond in Germany. We're going to jump into the usual stuff, but before we do, let's check in. Alex, how are you, buddy?
Hey man, I'm doing great. Happy to be back podcasting. I know last time we missed out, unfortunately, but it's great to be back and looking at the markets, looking at future things coming for the good fellas, and talking about the markets. It's actually it feels like it's gotten a little boring. Actually, my timeline is full of how is did you read about that guy called I think James Wynn? Did you read about his positions, like his degenerate traits?
I saw something about James Wynn, but I don't remember what the article was talking about. I read so much stuff. What do you got?
So it's basically a degen whale who keeps opening long positions on Bitcoin, but they are close to hundreds of millions in value. They're
Mhm.
obviously leveraged, and he keeps getting liquidated actually. So he went from like 3 or 4 millions all the way up to like 80 million in profit and lost it all again. And yeah, he's still talking like he doesn't care, and it's crazy. Like, my timeline has been full with him, and he's obviously claiming that the big players are always trying to liquidate him. And besides that, all I see is basically people trying to tell me when the next leg up is going to happen. Everyone is like, okay, we saw a golden cross here, and historically this means we will have another 10% dump, and after that it's up only, and blah blah blah. And it's funny, but it feels like it calmed down a little bit because we have not had like significant price action recently. Let's see where we go from now. What did you see this week?
For me, it was heads down doing a lot of different things. I wasn't paying too much attention to the markets aside from just looking for entry points. I raised some cash, and so I've been looking to enter into Bitcoin whenever it pulls back. So aside from doing that, I picked up some stacks so that I could stake it for Bitcoin earnings, which I think is probably one of the easiest ways to acquire Bitcoin. I picked up some different interviews from different people and watched a bit from the Bitcoin conference where Saylor spoke and Lynn Alden spoke. And of course, Peter Schiff spoke, who's still bearish on gold or bearish on Bitcoin, which is kind of funny. He spoke at a Bitcoin conference, and his arguments just are nonsense. I really don't know what this guy is doing and saying. Like, he just keeps rambling on about the same nonsense, and none of it makes any sense anymore. He just looks like a fruitcake. So at the end of the day, it's kind of funny to watch the drama unfold, and to see these two sides still going at it even after all this time and after so much adoption and so much proof, and the world going more technical, more electronic. People still clinging, like Peter Schiff, people still clinging to fiat and to gold. So aside from that, man, it's it was a pretty interesting week. Lots of work, of course. This past week was Memorial Day, so we had that. We had seminar with the wife. Man, so much to dive into. How about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, last week was basically like we had a holiday in Europe on Thursday. Yeah, it's called Ascension Day. I don't think you guys celebrate it in the United States. And yeah, I went to the movies for the first time in a couple of years, and had a pretty good time. And yeah, one more thing regarding the Bitcoin conference you mentioned. I think Michael Saylor spoke as well. I think you even shared the post. Haven't had the time to fully watch it, but the stuff I saw seemed to be pretty good. Um, and yeah, it's like it's crazy to see how companies keep adding more and more. Like, you read from so many companies adding Bitcoin. I think we had GameStop publicly announcing that they acquired Bitcoin, and retail is still sleeping. Like it's like, I feel like the attention Bitcoin had in 21, we are still so far from it, and all the big players keep accumulating, and it feels like it's just a matter of time until it explodes again. All right, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think this time it's different in some way, shape, or form. To be honest with you, there is a ton of adoption. There's a lot of excitement. I think most people in North America kind of feel like the American dream is over. Like middle class America has been struggling for so long, that I think more and more people are waking up to the fact that, Bitcoin might potentially be a way to preserve wealth and to sort of satisfy that need to get ahead. So, I think as we move forward, you're going to see more and more young people, jumping on that bandwagon. Of course, with robotics and AI and all the rest of it, all that stuff's going to want to transact digitally. It's not going to want to deal with cash or, of course, not gold. So, I mean, there's just too many reasons to continue to take a hard look at what's happening. And, when you have analysts going public with their predictions over the next few years, 5 to 10 years, you're talking, $1 million Bitcoin and all the rest of it. I've seen estimates anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000 this year alone. So, I mean, that creates a lot of excitement. And of course, some of it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we'll see what happens. But I do think it is different. We haven't really seen the full Bitcoin run up since the halving. Usually, it's a year to 18 months after the halving that we see the highs. We're getting close to that or getting closer to that. So I don't think we've seen the top, assuming the patterns hold. And then I don't know that we're going to see an altcoin run. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think a lot of people are going to give up on the weaker assets, weak NFTs, weak tokens. All of that sort of stuff, I think, is just going to end up in the dustbin of history, basically. And, everything's going to coalesce around the higher quality assets. I think this always happens, but it's one of those times where it's kind of like the writing's on the wall if you're paying attention. But if you're a normie and not in the space, you don't even have a clue what's happening. So that's how I see it.
Do you like? I know we've actually never spoken about that, but as you have been familiar with Bitcoin for pretty long now, have you ever considered having a mining setup or something? Because you live in the desert, there's a lot of space, electricity is cheap. Did you ever consider building something like that?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, electricity isn't really cheap enough here to make it a reality. If you have land somewhere here and you could set up a solar farm and you could mine that way, that would be fantastic. I don't own any land, like any vacant land in the desert where I could set something like that up, but I would, and it's something that we have considered. So who knows, maybe in the future we do something like that, but I haven't done anything outside of just personal mining or compute mining inside the house type stuff.
Yeah, I get that. But living in the desert, if you do you have solar? How do you call it? Like a panel or something on your houses there, or
a lot of people do.
Absolutely makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people do. We don't have panels. We don't have solar yet. It's the way that it's pitched. It's kind of pricey to get into. So when you do the math on it, it takes something like 15 to 16 years to get your return on your investment. Mm-hmm. So it's all right, well, do I really want to put solar panels on this house and wait 15 years to get my money back? Or do I just want to pay the bill and then when I move, let somebody else worry about it? Am I going to live in this house for another 15 years? Yeah, probably not. So it's one of those things where if you do a cost benefit analysis, it's not necessarily a good thing financially. But if you're into it, you can actually finance your solar panels, or there's companies that'll actually buy the panels and put them on your house, and they'll do a revenue share with you, and you'll pay a flat fee, But for the most part, for us, we have 5 hot months, maybe 2 really hot months. And so we really only have high electric bills during those times. In the winter, the winters are really mild, so we barely ever run any furnaces. So the gas bills are always really inexpensive, and the water bill is pretty affordable. So for the most part, it's just electricity during the hot months that you have to worry about. But if I had land in or around or near this property, I would definitely consider doing that. It's just a matter of realizing that when you're setting up a solar farm, you not only have the panels and the infrastructure that you have to build to run a miner, something like a Bitcoin miner, you're going to need 5,000 watts. And so like, how many panels is that going to be? Well, it's going to be quite a few. What sort of infrastructure? Well, you're probably going to have to build some sort of movable rack that it can sit on so that it's constantly facing the sun. And then you've got to route power to batteries, and you've got to have a place to store your batteries so that your miner can run all night when the sun is not shining, right? So it's really pricey to get into. And then when you buy a Bitcoin miner for 20 grand, you're going to be spending probably 40 grand to get a good setup just for one miner. So you really have to plan it and make sure that you're committed to the process.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, there's probably a reason why who create these farms move to different countries where electricity is like extremely cheap, and you probably should have started like at least two halvings ago. So it feels like if you start now, it already feels like you're late to the party. I know there's some hardware out there which is basically built for Bitcoin mining, that you can use, and where you have like a decent chance to make a little money. But I think the times where people get rich through mining is like they're over. So yeah, but you can become a validator if you want for any shitty chain you want.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, the Bitcoin network will shift to, like a fee-based, like a transaction-based type thing. And, mining will basically become a thing of the past, as we approach the 21 million mark, right? Like we never get there. We keep having, you keep having, and you never actually get to the other side because you keep cutting stuff in half. But at some point, mining will dissipate as a marketplace and be replaced with like transaction fees and that sort of thing. And, we're getting close to that. I think Saylor likes to say, you've got 10 years left on the Bitcoin gold rush before we're in that last phase of, the last Bitcoin to be mined, which will be mined over the next, 110 years, 115 years, whatever it is. So, there's the time to get in on the buy is now. The time to get in on the mining was 10 years ago. There are some services that you can, attach yourself to, and you can mine a token. There's a bunch of different tokens you can mine, but you can mine Bitcoin like still in your house. Like every once in a while you'll hear a story of some guy got lucky and like, he solved the block and then got like a 3 Bitcoin reward for his little $500 miner that sits on his, his computer or sits on his desk. But, those stories are few and far between. So I think for the most part, mining is run by the big guys, and, you can take a share of it by profit sharing with other collaboratives and working together. But, getting the opportunity to solve a block is like winning the lottery, literally.
Did you read the post from who was it? How was it called? I think Arkham, who basically leaked MicroStrategy's wallets and showing people where their Bitcoin sits. And I think in an interview before, Michael Saylor said that it's like a security risk to disclose the official wallets. And now they just, Arkham just went ahead and basically revealed them. Do you think it is actually a security risk?
It can be. I mean, anytime you give someone an attack surface, I mean, you create risk. Now, to what level is it risky? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they have the best of the best of the best in terms of technology and security. And I'm sure the vast majority of their holdings are probably kept in cold storage off chain in some sort of crazy vault somewhere. But, if someone has your wallet and you've got all your eggs in one basket and they sit down and they, really, really put maybe a quantum computer to work at solving the seed phrase, then there's the potential. I mean, anything's possible. Is it probable? It's not probable, but it's certainly possible. So, that's what Saylor was talking about. Like, anytime your wallets are exposed, you have some sort of attack surface. And so, inside the Bitcoin native wallets, they will constantly update the address. So like if I sent you tokens on something like Sparrow, which is like a command line wallet, like it would constantly produce new addresses, always producing new addresses, so that, when you receive that particular send, it would amalgamate your Bitcoin into a centralized area, but it would be sent to a different address every time. And so it sort of helped obfuscate, your main Bitcoin address. And I think Coinbase does that as well. Like anytime you send something to Coinbase, it'll give you like different addresses to send it to. But I mean, at the end of the day, if someone's committed, they're going to find, all the I mean, you can get online, you can find the wallets with the largest holdings just by doing a database search. So like you can do that, and then you could sit there and you could try to hack away at them for the rest of your life. And maybe you get it right, maybe you get it wrong, but it is an attack surface. And if someone solves that seed phrase, then, it won't matter if it's in cold storage or not. They're going to get your shit. So yeah, he's right. I mean, there is that problem. So I think probably what we're going to see going forward is as more and more companies custody their Bitcoin and separate themselves from banks, you're probably going to see a lot of tech coming online that's meant to basically, combat or be countermeasures to traditional attacks, and probably different ways of securing wallets outside of seed phrases. So that'll be kind of cool to see. And hopefully it's more user-friendly, because the average person, it's terrifying to hold your own tokens. I've been there, I've done that. I've lost, I've held a lot, I've lost a lot. And I've been attacked. Obviously, we've talked about that a little bit. And it's not fun, because once someone gets your seed phrase, that's it. It's over. Doesn't matter what kind of security you have set up on the wallet.
Yeah, and that's actually the question, whether there will be possibilities in the future that, where you can basically add security to your wallets. Actually, like, we all know that when the seed phrase is gone, your money is most likely gone, but there should be another layer of security, in my opinion. But if you look at, you mentioned quantum computing. For example, we have Satoshi's wallet, obviously. No one touches it ever. And if there was a possibility to get into this particular one, this is definitely going to be a threat to Bitcoin. I think just in the short term, because I feel like even if someone dumped all these tokens for some reason, we would get back up. But still, like, the security issue is still a thing where I feel like a big majority of the people feel like they're not capable of, keeping their Bitcoin secure. And that's a bad thing. I mean, that's why ETFs exist, obviously. You can invest into Bitcoins without actually holding them. But in the end, I feel like storing your own Bitcoins should be the ultimate goal for everyone, and that should be as easy as possible, and not by, buying a ledger and hide your seed phrase and just, write it on a piece of paper, or learn it at like in the best case. Yeah, I don't know, man. I hope we get a solution for this kind of thing one day.
The interesting thing is, like, you mentioned Satoshi's wallet, right? So that's a wallet that's publicly known and has been forever, and no one's cracked it yet, right? So, it's been, let's see, 2009 to today. So basically 15, 16 years. I'm not sure when it was made public, but just assume a decade. So there's been a decade of people who've known where that wallet is and what its address is, and have had the ability to basically attack it if they wanted to. I'm sure people have tried. But nothing has moved. It's still there. So something's going on with the security in terms of it being effective. But again, it won't be effective forever. So I'm sure there'll be other layers added to it. Just like, like right now, the block reward is a big deal. You win a block, you get paid in Bitcoin, right? But the average person is never going to own a whole Bitcoin. It's never going to happen. Like, if you don't have Bitcoin by now, or you don't have plans in place to acquire Bitcoin in the next few years, you're never going to get one. So then that breaks you down into fractions of Bitcoin, which are called Satoshis. So as the technology continues to expand out and people continue to use it, the Satoshis will probably get broken down into something further, right? So you'll have the Bitcoin, you'll have Satoshis, and then you'll have fractions of Satoshis, and who knows what those will be called. Who knows? Maybe they're already called something, right? But as this thing continues to grow and expand, the technology will have to match it. So not only will you see technical innovations around possibly splitting Satoshis. You'll also see things around security. You'll also see things around custody and wallet UI. And we've only scratched the surface. So this thing has a long way to run still. It's the Wild West, and you definitely want to get all you can while you can and hold it as securely as possible. And, be in front of all those things, because then you can move into those more secure settings, enjoy the different technical innovations. Just like we've had Bitcoin expand from one wallet type. I think there's like 4 different wallet types now, that use different fee structures. And this is what enabled ordinals and runes and all the rest of it. Those are the types of things that we're going to continue to see happen. There will be innovation, and it will continue to expand and grow as more and more people use the technology, because the value proposition has to be there. Just like we were talking about our meeting prior to the call with NFTs, like most NFT projects provide zero value, and that's why they're all going to zero. So the question you and I constantly have to struggle with is like, where's the value provision? What can we do to provide more value to holders? The same is true for, a store of value like Bitcoin, or a particular feature chain like Solana.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, come to think about it, like if I imagine how, like, just a couple years ago, when Bitcoin was at like 16,000, and that seemed like so affordable compared to today, for example, which is crazy. And obviously price will keep going up, and it's absolutely not going to be affordable for most of the people out there. But that's what we actually always hope for, so we should be happy about it. But let's move on and talk a little bit about NFTs as well. Let's jump a little bit into the Goodfellas. I saw you've been sending out a couple of rectangles these days. What's up with these?
Yeah, rectangles, right? Who knew NFTs could be different shapes? It's amazing, right?
I didn't know.
Yeah, for sure. So, we've been doing our level best, like coming back to the value proposition, right? Like, we're catering to collectors, curators, people who enjoy creating, right? Like, that's who we're after and who we want to spend time with. We're not in the Solana degen space, and we don't really care for low quality creation and low quality art. So, as we've gone through the process of creating different things, we've started experimenting with a lot of different things. One of which was it's like, okay, well, if I have related NFTs, like in this particular case, we're using like a Star Wars theme. We've got a Han Solo-ish looking piece. And then we drop another piece. It's like a Chewbacca-ish looking piece. The question is like, okay, well, I have this piece and this piece, and they're both, a duo inside the story and the theme of Star Wars. So what if I could put these two together in a singular NFT? And so we, sort of created this or pioneered this idea of match sets. So like if you minted a number 7 Han and a number 7 Chewie, well, I'm going to put those two together for you in a third NFT and send you the number 7 of that particular third NFT. And basically, we've taken the two halves and made them whole. And the whole idea is that we can do more with NFTs than we've done in the past, which is just you get it and that's it. It's like, no, you get it, but okay, now you have the fun of collecting the numbers that you prefer. You have the fun of like working with people to get to your end goal. You have the fun of like building a match set, which, not everyone will be able to do, which creates more rarity and more scarcity. So it just builds in all this extra, sort of additional fun and elements of like challenge into the, environment. And that's what this is all about. So I think I got 4 or 5 messages from people who had put them together. And so I had the capability to mint them and get them sent out, which is always kind of fun. And, I saw those NFTs hit wallets just last night. So that's a lot of fun for sure.
What would happen to, obviously nothing would happen, I think, but if someone like sells one of the two pieces now, and he obviously owns the rectangle already, like, would you be able to that's just hypothetically, obviously, because I do not think that anyone's going to sell one of these, but hypothetically, would you be able to change the metadata of the NFT and make it like a blank black image, for example?
Uh,
Like if someone does not own both of the NFTs,
you
so the
could,
rectangle
yeah.
turns black, for example.
I mean, yeah, you could do stuff
Okay.
like that, but I mean, I think that defeats the purpose. Like, if the point is to make it fun, not to like hamstring people, right? So, like if someone has, like, I do the sevens, right? Like, so if I have the sevens and then I sell one of my sevens, or if I trade off one of my sevens, well, okay, well, I already did the work to earn the bonus. The bonus is mine. Like, leave it alone, right? That's how I look at it. So, like, once you've earned the bonus, it's yours. And then once you do with it from that point, it's completely up to you. So, you wouldn't pay someone for doing work or give someone a bonus for doing extra work and then come back and say, oh, well, I'm going to take that away. Because that's not a gift. That's not a bonus. That's conditional love, man. We're not here to conditionally love people. It's like if they do the work, they get the bonus, they get to enjoy the experience of collecting, and we're supporting that, and that's awesome. But one thing that, I will say is, like, there'll be, you can do it in a better way. Like, you can have bonuses for people who hold all three, right? So, like, if someone has the 7 Han, the 7 Chewy, and then like the 7 matched set NFT, like, okay, now you're holding all three. Okay, well, now maybe you get a different role, or maybe you get access to something that someone who doesn't have that gets access to, right? So you just create more and more levels of exclusivity, but you don't punish people who, like, that's not cool. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very
I need to
degen. Like,
defend
fuck
myself.
degens,
Like
man.
I did not mean to take anything away from anyone. I just wanted to know if it's technically possible. Like, so, yeah, it's all good. No worries, guys. Nothing will be taken away from you, obviously. Yeah, but it's cool. I love the idea, and I felt like, especially with the Star Wars piece, I felt like this is a piece that needs to be published together in some way, because I feel like they work so good together. A great piece. So yeah, looking forward to the next ones. And I should actually start collecting numbers as well. I felt like, okay, this is not necessary, but now, as you start rewarding everyone, I feel like I need to get in there and collect all twos or threes. Let's see what number is still free. Um, okay, what else do we have? We will have another artist incubator drop on June 21st, and oh man, it's actually perfect. If we have like another artist incubator drop on like July 21st, for obvious reasons. Nobody knows what I'm talking about, but you get it, right?
Yeah, I sort of kind of get it.
Yeah, you just pretend, right? Like July 21st. Okay, whatever.
No, I get it.
But
I'm just playing.
okay,
Of
cool.
course I get it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I think the next drop is going to be special as well, and we will obviously try to get Liam into the process of promoting and talking about his piece as much as possible. He's not able to speak English. I'm not sure like how good his English is, but he said that he has problems that he might need a translator.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll try to get as many information on that piece as possible. And yeah, what else do we have? I still want to remind you guys to keep submitting your AI pieces. Obviously, the exchange is still going on, and the 21's pieces. Core, the main pieces from the collection will follow very soon. But next up are the boss coins. Am I right?
Yep, we got boss coins on tap, and we're trying to animate those. Obviously, you've seen the animation. It's a very simple but sort of elegant animation of the token, and we want to get those out to everyone holding ordinal bosses. And then, of course, we've got 3 more match sets to get out. And then, of course, we have the discussion around the Siren. So yeah, lots of things on the go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to, or I actually loved that so many people had takes on, bringing the Sirens home to Solana, and yeah, we're definitely leaning towards the idea to bring them back. We are just trying to figure out what way is best for that, and yeah, all in all, a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff that comes in the near future, and I look forward to it, man. I guess we covered most of the topics? Anything we forgot?
I don't think so. Obviously, we had a lengthy meeting prior to jumping on here, so we're going to cut it a little bit short today, guys. But we'll definitely be back on the Spaces Friday as usual. And I want to invite you and everyone in your world that's a collector, curator, creator to come out and join us for that so that we can continue to grow the tribe. Lots of great things coming your way, guys, so stay tuned. And we'll definitely be shooting lots more valuable pieces out your way.
Absolutely. So looking forward to see you guys on Friday. Have a great week. Until then, bye.
Take care, guys.